Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready to rumble? It is Sunday, fun day with the primetime Kings of live stream with the mighty powerful 24/7 Fusion Media. The ever mysterious vigilante Williamson, cruising in his hot rod, it's New Bomb Turk of the Hollywood Knights. And then there's me, your humble announcer. And fourth king, Baron Ormantag. Sit back, relax, and chill. Because we got it handled for the next hour or so. So get ready for the prize time king.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy 24/7 here with Baron Ormantag, New Bomb Turk, and hopefully we'll see Vigilante Williamson here. We are the Primetime Kings, and was actually wanted to tell everyone thank you for all the love and support that you guys have been showing me, and I just wanted to just everyone, here in the panel, out there in the chat, and, the subscribers and, people across the fandom, man, you guys have been awesome. And I just wanted to tell everyone thank you for everything. So, other than that, how are you doing, Baron?
So, Japan or South Africa? Who should I root for? I'm just curious because we got the rugby sevens going on right now, and well, it looks like South Africa got the try, so they were tied Japan, Russia, but now it's 10-5. So, sorry, I guess I got a show to do instead of watching rugby. What the heck am I doing? I'm doing fine.
Rugby,
yeah, man.
Rugby.
I'm like you were when you're watching your football. I'm watching a little bit of my rugby here. This is, yeah. Roughly the sport played by gentlemen.
I watch more hockey than football, but yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's up, man. What's going on with you, New Bomb?
Not much. Started a new job and been working overnights, so my sleep schedule was all kinds of goofy. But other than that, doing good.
Huh.
It's zombie New Bomb Turk.
Pretty much.
Y'all like to say what's up to Lord Thoth. What's going on, brother? Say what's up to Pat S. What's going on, Pat?
All these troublemakers.
Oh, yeah. Pacific 414, what's going on, man? Yup. So, like I say, what's up to Keely Chow? Roll Tide, my brother. Man, Sox Bulletin. What's going on, Sox? My brother, man. What's going on, man?
A great supporter. I always see.
Oh, yeah, man. Sox awesome,
there,
man. Yeah. Everybody's awesome. Thank you, Sox. Pat S in the house. Yeah, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. I appreciate that, man. Thank y'all for that. Man. Yeah, man. Cheers to everybody.
I thought it was wash, rinse, and repeat, but I don't know.
You know it. Man, so just kind of curious. I didn't know if you guys took a look at the articles I threw in the back. I was hoping that
Oh yeah. All right, let me get going here. I mean, I should have been. I was enamored by watching the game. Let's take a look here. So, okay, I'll go with the original one you gave me on that one. I actually looked up another one from Variety, but I think we'll stay with Bounty in the comics.
That's what's up. What's up, Low Spec? Jeff, my man. What's going on, man?
Yeah.
What's up, Zach?
Yeah.
Zach's in the house, my brother.
Yeah, I know. The Canadians. The Canadians are invading again, eh?
Huh.
So,
And the long suffering. Hopefully you're
mhm.
doing better. Great to have you here.
Yeah, she's doing a
Man,
lot better. Yeah.
that's awesome. South Africa is up 10-5 over Japan. That's what's up,
Mhm.
man.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, kamikaze play. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
boy, I tell you, great to have everybody here. Thank y'all for being here and supporting us and spending time with us, man. It's nothing like it. I know I'm about to start doing some things, start live streaming more during the week. Uh, you know, I'll be working on some stuff and also trying to focus on my content more. So it's going to be interesting, but I'm looking forward to it. So other than that, I
Oh, here we go.
yeah.
I don't know if I
And
want to jump.
actually wanted to see what you guys thought about this. I seen this, and to be honest, Zach says always support 24. Oh man, thank you, Zach. Fucking awesome, man. You know, this is a thing here that it looks like for the entertainment industry coming out of you know, shit coming out of Hollywood, it looks like a lot of things are about to it's about to take a certain turn, man, for the worse. If in order to take a tax break, man. So we seen this. I saw this article and I was like, look, this is gonna be something that every studio and TV station is actually gonna be trying to get themselves involved with. So have any of y'all taken a look at this and seen what it
I had not. I had not yet because I want to come into this reading this book cold. But
come in fresh, right.
Yeah,
All
I kind of briefly went over it. It doesn't surprise me any. California, over the past few years, not even just the liberal side of things, but even policies like from my perspective, the automotive industry, like
right.
custom cars and hot rods have always been a California thing. That's where they originated. That's where a large portion of the manufacturing of parts started. Not to say that they're currently there because they drove them all away. I mean, they're basically truly trying to bankrupt themselves, and I find that absolutely fascinating that they're so willing to push organizations and companies out of their state. Like Tesla left. Tesla didn't want to fucking deal with them anymore. A large portion of, like I said, the aftermarket industry for cars, none of them are in California anymore, or very few. And I don't know, like, whoever decided that this was a good idea, do they not realize that one of their major corporations, Disney, started to do a whole lot more filming in Atlanta, Georgia? Now, are they going to try to push this if a movie is shot in Atlanta versus California?
Right.
Because the corporation exists in California? That'll be funny.
That's
because to fight that, they just be like, well, we didn't film it in California. You can't fucking do anything to us because we filmed something the other side of the fucking country.
Well, I guess for everyone that doesn't know what we're talking about, Baron, can you
scroll it down,
run the article?
I'll go ahead. This is from Bounding into Comics. Breaking is Jacob Smith. As of 2 days ago, the article is headlined California proposes withholding new tax credits from Hollywood productions unless they, quote, set ethical, racial, and gender diversity goals and to develop a plan to achieve them, unquote. While it may not be illegal yet, California is taking its first steps to punish Hollywood projects that aren't woke enough to meet ever moving standards of progressives.
Wow.
In 2022, California voted to pass SB 485, which revised the state's film tax credit legislation to introduce a new credit which could only be received if a given project provided a, quote, diversity work plan that included goals that are broadly reflective of California's population, unquote.
I mean, mostly rich and white.
Mm-hmm.
but just think, you have to just think everything you do, like your movies, your TV projects, just everything you
Mm-hmm.
Now
have to run.
It becomes state propaganda.
Yeah, you basically like you have to run your whole shit with a plan on how all this shit's supposed to come together. Just like basically you have to run like basically your production, who you're gonna hire, your diversity cast, all this shit you have to run about the government before you even make your shit. In order for you to get approved for the tax credits.
Mm-hmm. Well, welcome to 1930s Germany filmmaking.
Just think
it's even beyond that. Like if you look, there are going to be a number of pieces of this industry that are going to be like, wait a minute, hold up. Like I get it, you want to meet the Oscars requirement for a movie of the year by having X amount of diversity, whatever. Once you start affecting the unions that are involved in movie making, they're going to start to push back.
Right.
Because they're going to be like, I got union guys here that you won't give the job to because they're not, X background or they're not gay or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That ain't going to fly at all.
Right.
Union, especially like the stagehands and there's a name for that union.
Well, you got the Teamsters.
But yeah, it's not just the Teamsters. It's a specific section of Hollywood. It's stagehands and construction workers that build sets and all the background stuff.
Right.
Once you start telling them, hey, we can't use you here because your guys aren't of X whatever, they're going to lose their shit.
Yeah.
They're going to completely go off on the state.
Well, I mean, like you were saying earlier, I can't remember if we were on the air or not, but Disney's moving to Georgia, and how soon until they start running up back to Vancouver like mad, like they did back in the 90s?
Yeah, and it's not all production, but it's a fair amount of the movie stuff. TV is still, again, it depends on which part of Disney, because I know they filmed, what was it? WandaVision was filmed in Atlanta. Right. I don't think She-Hulk was. I think She-Hulk was filmed in California.
I thought it was the depths of hell. Okay.
Well, I'm trying to be honest here and not take swings. I'm just trying to give proper information. So, every other TV show that Marvel has produced has been in production in Atlanta. And you can tell just by looking through the credits. It's got the big old peach and it says, produced in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And a number of the movies have had that. And, if they don't do filming on location, and they really don't do it anymore now that they got that circular fucking stage thing that they use, Yeah, I mean they're just going to start filming somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Not that they, I don't think Disney has a problem with this. They probably were all behind it, but
Mm-hmm.
the other companies that are out there that maybe aren't so keen on it would, they'll just say, "Fuck it, I'll pick up." Like CW, 90% of CW stuff was done in Vancouver.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Canadian, not Teamsters, but similar effect when it comes
Right.
to like, the background production and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They're just gonna go somewhere else. And
Right.
if push comes to shove, they'll move their damn corporate offices.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think California, at least the government, is thinking about that.
Well,
No.
there's a certain little hubris amongst them. They think that we are the shits and all that. We snap our fingers. You're going to do what we say. Here there in California, not realizing that people are seeping away. Just like you said, how many going up to Vancouver? How many going to Georgia? How many going to Florida? They don't realize that rats can jump off of a sinking ship.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and as you look at the deterioration of the state as a whole,
Mm-hmm.
The major cities are the ones that are struggling. The smaller townships around those major cities are still doing okay.
Yeah.
But, San Francisco is an absolute toilet,
Yeah.
pun intended. LA's getting there. If you've been to LA and in the past 10 years, you'd know what we're talking about. The homeless problem, the drug use problem, like they're heading straight on towards a waterfall that is 100 stories high.
Right.
And they're just going to go right off the edge of that into oblivion.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things are coming together where we are going to be seeing that massive change in entertainment, because not besides the fact that people are turning their back on the entertainment they're given, but now we have these little wild cards that get plopped down, and it's like smaller studios, they're gone, they're leaving, either they're going to shut down or they're going to go some other place, and they don't realize even the bigger ones are going to start farming their stuff out to other places because it could be cheaper, even though they keep their main headquarters there.
Right. Well, and on top of that, like what Gary and Jeremy says, you've got content creators on various other platforms
Mm-hmm.
that are doing, show quality productions
Mm-hmm.
that you can't dictate what they do. I mean, I guess YouTube could,
Right.
but outside of that, if California just tries to tell people on YouTube, "Hey, you can't do that," they're going to get the big middle finger, because half of those people aren't even in the country, let alone in that state.
Mm-hmm. And see, that's the big problem. California believes so much in this. As California goes, so goes the U.S. They don't see anything other than their own, thinking their own shit's gold.
Well, that's them not paying attention, because
Right.
nobody's followed California when it came to shit other than New York, and look at the mess
Right.
New York's in.
Right.
In Chicago, which they
Mm-hmm.
finally voted that idiot out.
Right.
Yeah. Back into her fishbowl.
Oh God! Somebody said Beetlejuice 3 times, and she lost the race. But yeah, I mean, there's going to be a point where it's just going to hit a wall, and I don't like, when it comes to Newsom, I don't trust him
No.
as far as I could throw him, and I could probably throw him pretty far, but I wouldn't even trust him that much.
Mm-hmm. Well, when people talk about book burnings, of course, they always go for the the big thing where where you've seen the piles and they're being burned in Germany, other places, Soviet Union said. But this is another form of book burning. It is basically saying what you have for an idea and I know what your ideals are and such are not going to be done at all because they don't hold to our codes. You have to follow our codes or else
Right.
you cannot put anything out there that's opposed or questioning it at all.
Right. I mean, shit. Even Zax makes a good point. He says, without knowing any specifics, they probably set a target that most productions already meet as a way to virtual signal while giving tax breaks to their buddies.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the numbers here, like they're basing it off of the census, and
Right.
41% is. I love how they do this. They're like, well, only 41% is white, but they're not including Euro ethnic in that white. Like they're just saying American citizens that are white, but Hollywood has a bunch of people who work in Hollywood yet are not, initially from California. They're
Right.
from all over the place.
Mhm.
And, they're like 40% black, 15 Hispanic. Like those numbers are bunk. Like I lived in California. I know there's far more than 15% fucking Hispanic there. Hell, LA alone would be like a 35%.
Hmm. Yeah,
And they're
exactly.
also basing it off a census. How many people actually took the census? They
Correct.
say you have to. I don't fucking do the census. I don't give a shit.
Well, remember there was a big push too for them that for whatever it was, virtual signaling. Don't do the census because it's going to make something look bad. Virtual signaling this. So yeah, how many people did do the census exactly? Because those numbers are ridiculous.
Right. And you're sure as hell not getting the homeless people to do the census.
No, exactly, exactly. And like you said, and then you have that migrant population of actors from all over the world, whether it's Canada, England, France.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Hong Kong.
what's up, Keith? From Pop Culture Minefield. What's going on, brother?
Hey, Keith.
Yeah, miss you, bro. Hell yeah. What's up, Sentient? What's up, Sean? My bad. Let's trying to say what's up to everybody.
Keith. Keith. He's okay.
Nah, Keith is a great guy, man.
He is. He's a wonderful guy. I just said.
Man. Yeah, it's I was just thinking like it's crazy how it was kind of the same as Zach was saying. There's a lot of people that are already uniform to this. They they're already fall in place when it comes to this. But then it makes it mandatory. Like, yo, if you guys want this tax break, you're gonna have to fucking go woke.
Right.
There's no other way. There's no other way. Like, if you want this tax break, it ain't that you just making a movie. You got to fucking make a movie that has all this shit in it. So if you don't have the proper diversity hires, you don't have all this other shit in place. I don't give a fuck, how big the budget is, what kind of movie it's about, blah blah blah. If it's not set to our standards, then you're not getting this tax break.
And and this is something. This particular piece of legislation is not something you can solely put onto one political party because I'm looking at the variety story here. And the measure that we're talking about, the measure passed the assembly on a 62-0 vote, which means nobody voted against it in the assembly.
Right.
The state senate passed the bill 37-0, which means no state senator voted against it.
Now, I would like to know the division of political parties in their other than governor offices, the Senate and whatnot. Because I don't think it's a split like you see in Washington.
No.
I would imagine there, And even if it's a Republican, they're a Republican in name only because they live in fucking California.
Oh yeah, yeah, rhinos.
Yeah, well, barely even rhinos. You know,
Yeah.
you get people that literally change affiliation because they think they have a better path at getting to where they want to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know, listed as one side versus the other. You know,
Right.
if they're listing as a Democrat, you're running against 15 other Democrats for one position. Whereas if you list as a Republican, say all the right words before the election, you might get put in still thinking as a Democrat, but you're listed as whatever you want to list at. How many of those are independents? I would like to know.
Yeah, exactly. And just like I said, with the big problem back in '94 when you had the quote unquote revolution, so many people from the one party switched to the other one, but they never switched their ideology. They just changed the letter after their name.
Right.
Huh. Shit. Wow. Yeah. Like I say, I just I don't know. I just found this thing like wow. And now the thing is, what's the next step after this?
Well, I personally, I would think if like I was saying, the unions that are involved in Hollywood outside of the Actors Guild and whatever, and the Screenwriters Guild, if it starts to affect employees, someone's going to push this to a Supreme Court hearing. Now, if that progresses all the way to Washington, we'll see. But the argument is going to be you're forcibly choosing or telling companies that they have to choose other than whites for positions. And, white individuals within that workspace are going to be denied work based on their background alone, which, if I'm not mistaken, is illegal to do. You cannot hire or not hire based purely on background. Not like that. Not genetic background.
Mm-hmm. Well, exactly. You notice that the language you're using is kind of like the reverse way around, saying this is a bill to hire more people from these certain groups. That's the glass half full. The glass half empty is you better not hire from these groups of people.
Right.
So it's basically, we're just going to show the one side only in sugarcoated. Thank you, media. Unbiased, quote unquote. While imagine if there was went around that way, saying that you can't hire this racial minority or that racial minority, just like you had back in certain days, or even the unofficial when they had during Vietnam War, where Vietnam vets were coming back and were being denied jobs because they served.
Right, because they were in the military, and liberal-minded businesses were not keen on hiring somebody who, they viewed as being the evil ones when all they were doing is just following orders. And honestly, they were forced to go.
Right.
At the end of the day, they were drafted. There's nothing they could do about it.
Yeah. They were drafted in by a guy that they voted in for, LBJ, because most of the time in the 60s, that's what you had was LBJ. But everyone wants to seem to ignore LBJ and go straight to Nixon.
Well, yeah. I mean, when it started, it was like that, but Nixon didn't exactly try to stop it.
Oh, no. But, I mean, the liberally minded people, they're the ones that voted in like LBJ, which helped escalate the war.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like, oh, geez. You just don't like the end finish of what that you said was okay.
It's a similar situation to where we're at now.
Yeah.
The French were the ones fucking around in Vietnam prior to us.
Right.
They asked us for help and then bailed.
Right.
situation now is the Ukraine is asking for help from us.
Uh-huh.
Now, the only major difference is that it's on Ukrainian soil.
Right.
It's not some foreign land, foreign to them. But yeah, it's the same situation. We're going to end up to our fucking elbows with having to deal with Russia and China, and they're just gonna, I guess we're done now, because it's a tiny country that can't, defend themselves. I guess, not that anything's actually happening, but
right, and not only that, that Ukraine tried to do their own Gulf of Tonkin by shooting a couple missiles into Poland, saying, "Oh, it's the Russians that did it."
Well, yeah, I mean that was.
Oh no, that was an attempt to get us in there, because that was, anybody attacks a NATO country, all NATO comes together and go in there. They're trying to make an attack look like it was Russia. Now, anyone who sits back and says I'm a pro-Russia guy, I'm not. I don't like either one of them.
Right.
And my attitude is, stay as far away as you would from Chernobyl. Okay, just don't go over there.
You can take a tour into Chernobyl.
Yeah. Just don't pet the puppies, though. They have those signs out there. But a lot of people
they glow in the dark.
Yeah, they glow in the dark. Yeah, the best dogs in the world if you want to find them in the night. But the thing is tension between Ukraine and Russia goes back a long time. This is an old feud. Stay away. That's all I can say. Yeah. Stay away.
Wow.
Yeah. But, I mean, like I said, anyone's going to accuse me that I'm a pro-Russian. No, I'm not pro-Russian. I don't like either one of them.
Well, I do want to address Dildo's statement. U.S. wanted to warn you. Yeah, he said U.S. wanted to warn Ukraine. That's why they fucked with it for years. The government, sure.
Yeah.
Not us. Not the average citizen. We don't want to fucking war with anybody.
The guy who's wearing a diaper in the White House, that's the one who wanted it. And his son with the crack pipe.
Even prior to that, I mean.
Yeah, even prior to that, too. But I'm just saying that, no. Us smart Americans, the smart ones, don't want it. I know too many Ukrainians and Russians. I know that it's, it's like, it's a subject to dance around because you don't want to get their passions going.
Right. But yeah, now that we've completely diverted this conversation in a different direction.
Yeah.
And be careful. Senior Dildo might shit on our cars.
No. Y'all good. We can we can go ahead and reel it back in. Well, I tell you what. Can you see what are the did they break down like any of the requirements or anything for this?
Yeah, let's take a look here. I don't know if should I switch it up? Maybe the Variety might have a bigger one, but let's take a look.
No. I mean, Bond in the comics normally does a good job.
Yeah, they do.
Being, being pretty thorough.
Oh yeah, they're very good. So while the original bill held no specific penalties for productions that failed to meet these goals, the state's Democratic governor Gavin Newsom is now seeking to provide the state with the tools needed to enforce these rules.
Wow.
Now, can we, boys and girls, can we see tyranny? I knew you could. As per the state's 2023-2024 film tax credit budget proposal submitted by the governor's office on February 28th, whereas a previous budget packet included a blanket allocation of $150 million in film tax credit for productions that are filmed at new or renovated sound stages. This credit is now being withheld unless the given production is instituting ethnic, racial, gender diversity goals and to develop a plan to achieve those diversity goals. Now,
damn, that's fucked up, man. Like, yo, we're gonna withhold these taxes from you if you don't fucking check off those boxes.
Well, it's tax credits.
Yeah, tax
credits.
Yeah, so they're basically holding the credits hostage, if you will. But like I said, if companies are going to be put into a position like that, and again, I don't know or claim to know who would want or not want this in Hollywood. I don't have any attachments to Hollywood. But at some point, some of those smaller companies that are like, you know what, we can't compete in this race to do all this.
Mhm.
They're just, like we said, they're going to go somewhere else.
Right.
They're going to either pick up completely and move out of the state,
Right.
which again it hurts them again because then they're not in the city where everything fucking happens. But in turn, they'll be able to move to a state like, well, any number of other states that are going to be like, we don't care.
Right.
You want a tax credit here? Sure. You know, I'm sure Texas wouldn't mind it.
No, Texas would love it. They're getting enough from California at this rate now. And hey, look, it's the cast for the upcoming Queen Elizabeth motion picture coming out.
What?
Yeah, that's for
He's
that's
just
for Queen
being
Elizabeth.
stupid.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
being
ton of
stupid.
Right.
Should this? Okay, sorry. So productions are eligible to receive an additional 4% tax credit if they meet or make a good faith effort to meet their diversity goals. The governor's office added. Should this proposal be adopted, it will remain in effect through the rest of the current tax credits effective lifespan
So
into
2 years.
2025. Though lawmakers are currently working on extending this date to 2030.
Yo, they want to. Holy shit, that is woo.
Mhm.
Well, what's up, Zachariah 315? What's going on, man? Well, I tell you what, at least that lets you know what kind of content we'll be getting, you know, to make sure everybody complies for that tax credit.
Mhm.
You know, this is what we got to look forward to, man.
Yep. Isn't
All
it
for
amazing?
taxes. So,
Yep.
I
so even
already don't watch it now, so it's not going to make a difference.
well, let's say if a company did want to, you know, make a turnaround or whatever. That
Right.
means for tax purposes, they, you know, unless, you know, it gets depending on how much money they, you know, if they don't give a fuck about the tax credit, then it wouldn't matter. But
Right. But
for
you
the
know
ones, the
they're all
companies that do, you know, that they, you know, they fall back on that shit,
right.
then basically, if they weren't woke enough, this
Well,
is
I
it.
mean, everything is a business. You know, I mean, yes, they do
Right.
entertainment, but at the end of the day, they're looking to make money,
Right.
or at least make it look like they're making money. Tax credits go towards that.
Mhm.
So if you're not throwing money at taxes, that's a good thing, at least for the studio.
Right.
You know,
And those taxes are pretty high. They love the gouge.
California is the worst. Yeah.
Mhm. And I know 24 wanted some numbers. I know Variety's got numbers here. So I'm going to go here. The diversity requirement applies only to the soundstage credit, which accounts for 150 million of the new tax expenditures. It does not apply to the baseline 330 million annual film and TV credit, nor to the 180 million boost to that program, which it is also part of the bill.
So it's a big, it's like one big waving a flag, and at
Yeah.
the end of the day, like if they're still getting the 330 million and the 180 million boost, is the 150 really going to hurt all that much? And they only get a portion of it. That's 150 million across all of the industry,
Yeah.
not just one company.
Right.
And it's, you know, everybody who qualifies is only going to get a portion of that.
Yeah.
So theoretically, for a company like, say, Disney, you know, out of that 150, they would probably garner the largest portion, but it's not going to be the full number. It's only going to be, you know, a percentage of that.
Right.
Right. And of course, they're just saying soundstage credit, which means, yeah, you film most of your movies somewhere else on location. You only need to have a few sound stages to.
Well, they
work
wouldn't qualify at that point for any
Yeah.
of it.
Right. But even if you're doing on location out there, obviously that won't count. I mean, that tax credit only goes for the sound stage.
Yeah,
So they can do it on location throughout California, get all the other stuff.
this is a double-edged scenario here.
Oh yeah.
Because what they're really doing is they realized companies aren't filming in California as much as they used to,
Right.
and all those tax incomes are no longer going into their government. They're going somewhere else.
Right.
Everybody who worked in Atlanta has to pay Georgia taxes for the portion of time that they got paid for working there.
Yep.
Same thing with Vancouver. You have to pay Canadian taxes if it's
Right.
Other side of the border.
Yeah.
For that. So all these tax dollars are no longer coming into their coffers.
Mhm.
They're panicking. Now they're trying to entice these companies to no, film here. We'll give you a credit if you film here. But you have to follow this thing otherwise.
Right.
Right. They had to fill it with stupidity.
Right. And
Shit.
it's a big nothing burger at the end of the day because, again, they're going to film where they want to film, where it's most convenient for them to film. If it isn't in California, guess what? It's not going to be in California.
Let me.
Well, it's like the frog and the scorpion. I mean,
Right.
the frog is the industry. The scorpion is the government. It stings the frog, kills it, but they both drown. That's what we're looking at right here.
Right. Yeah, effectively.
So that's kind of a sound studio. Let me ask something. So let's say if they filmed it somewhere else, but they had to do the edits and everything else in California at the actual studio.
The taxes paid are only for the work where the work is done. So, if you're editing on site in California, then yeah, that work there is, paid to you via the company through California taxes.
Right.
So
Okay.
you're a person who lives in California more than likely,
Right.
and you pay state taxes.
Right. So basically they could film it somewhere else damn. So even to edit the shit in the studio or to do whatever, you still would have to follow their guidelines.
Well, yeah, pretty much. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the corporation exists in California. So, whatever earnings they claim on the year,
Right.
that is filed in California. But any individual who works on a production that is outside of California, like just as a theoretical, one of us gets cast in a show that films in Atlanta.
Right.
Right? None of us live in California currently. So we travel off to Atlanta,
Right.
do our work, get paid by said company whose corporate is in California.
Right.
But we're paying on that income in Georgia because
Right.
that's where we earned our money on
Right.
location in Atlanta.
Right.
So then you come back to wherever state you're from, you file your taxes appropriately. So whatever income that I earned in state, like I'm in Arizona, so I would file my Arizona taxes minus what I earned in Georgia.
Right.
And then I would have to also file a state tax for Georgia on the amount that I earned while I was working in Georgia.
Right.
So none of that money would go to California, and they couldn't
Exactly.
dictate jack shit to us.
Right.
Because we don't live there. We don't work within the business as it sits in California. Now, if they
Right.
hired us to do something and we went to California to do that job, that's a different story.
Right. So no, I guess what I'm saying is like you know, you can sit there and film everything in Georgia, but then when it comes down to the editing and let's say like the soundtrack and you know the mixing and you know all the behind the scenes shit, because I know like if I'm not mistaken, you know, me being you know dealing with the music industry,
Mhm.
there's a lot of things that you know if certain things had to be recorded or mixed down or some other shit, even if it was something that's recorded in one studio, they have to do the editing, the mix down, and everything else at the actual company studio.
Right.
You know, so it's you know, so if it's one of those things, then they could sit there and you know, going back to what you said, tax it on the actual work that's done on the production, on the actual, you know, behind the scenes stuff that doesn't have to do with the director and the actual actors, you
Right.
know.
Yeah. If whatever work is done within the state, then those individuals have to file the state tax for California. The company is strange because a lot of these companies, especially Hollywood, they're filing taxes in multiple countries,
Right,
in multiple states within our own country.
right,
So, you know, like I don't know the nuts and bolts specifically of how that corporation files
right,
because I'm not again part of the industry, but
right,
it's it's really odd. Like if a film was shot on location or
right,
on a studio in Atlanta, do they then claim the income, the millions in income? I would assume, because again, the corporation still exists in California. So Disney corporate offices and Universal and all these other companies,
right.
their taxes are filed within the state.
Mhm.
But again, I don't know how. I'm sure there's a ton of tax lawyers that work for every single one of those companies that are like, no, we'll file that over here. Nope,
Mhm.
we're
Right,
going to file
right,
that over
exactly.
here, and we're going to do this. I'm sure they're barely paying taxes as it is.
Oh yeah.
Right. What's up, Punk Waddle? Yeah. Yeah, that's I agree, man.
It's
That
crazy.
is.
I mean, I've done the multiple work state before within different states, and it's a pain in the ass. It really is.
Yeah, that's where you need to have that tax attorney or whatever to be able to do the taxes for you.
Well, I mean, you can kind of get away with it if you're an individual who's not married, doesn't have kids.
Mhm.
You can parse that down a bit easier, to where I filed federally one time, and then I filed. This was when I moved from New York to Arizona. I filed a portion of the year in New York up to the point I left, and then the rest of the year I had to claim Arizona because that's where I was working at that moment. But I could still do the EZ forms for the state.
Mhm.
It just sucks when you have to send all those fucking things out, or this was prior to pure electronic filing, which nowadays is all electronic, and hell, you don't even have to contact the state anymore.
Let's see. Just take a look here at the rest of this variety one here. Yeah, it's just all kind of technical jargon here for this variety one, but it's just basically looks like everything we kind of hit. Of course, everybody
Right.
Go up slightly one paragraph.
Okay, there or more.
There,
Okay.
right there. The one at the top, in leveraging the tax credit to try to encourage diversity, The state is following the examples of Illinois, Chicago, and New Jersey. Again, liberal bullshit, which have each established diversity program or provisions in their programs. In the past, California lawmakers have avoided doing that, citing constitutional impediments. So how do you not have the constitutional impediments now that you avoided before, when no major changes to the Constitution have happened in that time frame? The state's diversity efforts have increased or instead been focused on data collection and job training programs.
Wow.
Applicants for the soundstage credit will have to submit a diversity work plan for approval by the California Film Commission to qualify. That work plan must contain the goal of reflecting the state's population. Yeah, I mean, this is going to end up in, if not the state Supreme Court, but federal Supreme Court, because it's going to cost people jobs purely based on their background, which again is illegal to do.
Yeah, laws have been passed.
Right.
No one gets everyone has, goes in with the same pay, for a lot of these jobs, based on your experience, obviously. But there's no disparaging against any ethnic group or gender group at all. That is illegal. Has been since the 1960s, I believe.
Right, and those laws were created to help the same people that they claim to be helping.
Right.
Like, whatever.
What's up, Eric K?
Hey, Eric.
Eric K in the house. What's going on, brother? Thank you, man. I appreciate you. Just popped in to say hello. Hey, missed you around here, man. But thank you for that. And I'm doing something better, man. I appreciate that. Thank you for that.
Lock the silverware drawer just in case.
Yeah. Eric K, the man. There you go. Man, sure appreciate you, Eric. Thank you so much, man. Yeah. Shit. Yeah. Missed you around here, man. So, yeah, man. Thank you, man. Shit, man. All the love everybody showed me, man. It's been means everything, man.
Told you they love you, man.
Yeah, man.
Another tower of power, that's for sure.
Oh, man.
I was going to say another telling sentence in this article. The commission is supposed to evaluate whether the diversity goal was met for both above the line and below the line workforce. And that was what I was getting at. Above the line is your talent. That's the people who show up in front of the camera. Below the line is all the support that goes on. And the unions are going to lose their shit over this.
Wow. Fenrir Fire, what's going on, brother? Shit. Damn. It's been a minute since I talked to you too, man. Great to have you here, man. Thank you, man. Hell yeah. Shit, that's awesome, man. But yeah, man, that's kind of fucked up. It seems like I guess whenever they passed this, they did it, and you'd be surprised when a lot of things kind of like pass. Maybe a lot of people didn't know this was going to happen, or maybe just because it's in California, everybody was for it.
Right.
Well, yeah,
because like Zach says, is everybody already falls in line with they already they already follow those rules, so shit, might as well get paid for it,
right?
Or get a tax break or whatever. But then it's like, damn, I guess for all the other people that are trying to fight against it and just do their thing without that being an issue, because it's already an issue, just doing woke shit. But if there was a company trying to go against it, and they need their tax credits and all this other shit, it's a fuck.
Yeah, it's a pendulum swinging, but in the wrong direction.
Right.
Like the pendulum had already swung a specific degree, and they ran up to it and pushed it further in the same direction. The final paragraph, none of this has ever been done before. Yes, it has. There are federal laws against, hiring purely based on, well, don't scroll because you just moved me.
Sorry, wait there.
Yeah, this has never been done before. This is a critical new step in ensuring there are opportunities for disadvantaged communities in the workforce. Those programs are already in place. There are programs in California. If you want to get into stunt work, if you want to get into stagehand work, PA work, set building, there are programs already there to give you the training you need to do these things. Mm-hmm. You can't force someone to get into a particular job. They have to want to do it. And if they weren't doing it before, are you going to like drag them kicking and screaming to these jobs? Like, I just don't understand. Like if over 100 years of movie making, a particular demographic gravitated towards those jobs.
Right.
Even if you take it post 60s. So you say the last, 50 years or whatever.
Right.
If a particular demographic didn't push their way into that particular type of job, they didn't find it interesting. So now you're telling people you have to hire these people, and these people don't want to work there. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, that's not something they want to do. Otherwise, they would already be doing it.
Exactly. It's kind of like, just an example. It's kind of like when Kathleen Kennedy was talking about how they need to be more women cameramen in the fucking industry. And they're like, well, damn, nobody's preventing them from not being cameramen. But the thing is, if they don't want to be behind the camera, fucking lifting up a fucking camera that weighs more than what they can, host on their shoulders and all this other shit, it's a kind of like a shit job. They don't want to do that.
Well, and even nowadays, that's not even the case anymore. You've got rigs and gear that takes all of the struggle out. That, you've seen those anti-motion rigs where they're all sprung, so that as the person moves who's holding the camera, it barely even shows that movement. It's almost like a deadpan or like a solid mount. There's very little physical input into that job anymore. So there should be no complaints. Right. They just don't do it. It's not an interesting job, really. At the end of the day, holding a camera is boring.
Yeah. It is.
But what I noticed though, it's funny, man, with a lot of these diversity hires, man, all this shit that, the boxes that you have to check when you actually get those people, for all the different boxes, and you actually put them in these positions to actually work. Do you know they really can't do the fucking job, man?
Yeah, in many cases.
I'm talking about in every thing. It's like, okay, well, you're a diversity hire for this. Let's put you in a position to be a writer, and then your writing fucking sucks. And then when they put it in, okay, we're gonna fucking put you in this movie or this show, your fucking acting sucks. And then when you take this diversity hire and fucking put them in a comic book, they can't even fucking draw it or they can't write it. So it's like, damn. And then the thing is, that shit takes the place of the person that's actually qualified to do the job. This diversity hire comes in and can't even fucking perform, can't even do shit.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Rob Liefeld had a job for many years.
Yeah.
Well, that motherfucker couldn't draw for shit.
Right. I don't know. It's
yeah,
fucked up,
well,
man.
but yeah, we are getting that. We are reaping. I mean, take a look at New Trek and how horrible that was. Of course, now they have to concede that they have to end STD because 5 seasons of suckiness. But they have no idea of the universe that they're writing in. It's like
They
you
don't
grab
care.
you grab the worst fanboys and fangirls out to write their fan fiction, and it's horrible. As it comes right down to also with directing and writing and acting, just like you said, we have these people. Why are they in this movie or this TV show? They're horrible. Well, it's because it used to be because they were banging the producer, Harvey Feinstein or somebody, but now it's just because we have to check a box.
Right. Well, and I will say this: there's a middle ground when it comes to writers. People who, pardon me, people who don't care about the subject matter are bad. We all know this. We've seen it happen a million times.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, someone who is a completely over the top fanboy isn't that much far behind because they tend to get stuck in the same situations over and over again in their writing. They can't separate and move on from the old, right? A good writer can take what has come before and build on that, right? And typically that's not the fanboy. That is somebody who is solid in their writing if it's a new IP as much as they are an existing IP.
So you mean, like, for an example, like when, let's say, like a Grant Morrison comes in and fucking does Swamp Thing out of the blue, right?
Right.
Like he did. And he fucking, he people love his run of Swamp Thing.
Right.
But but then he's a guy that from what I know, he wasn't he didn't give a he was given a job.
Right.
But then, like you said, his skills were exceptionally enough to where he was able to propel the character in in a forward direction.
Exactly.
He was able to push Swamp Thing, make him into a greater character than what he was before he touched him.
Right, but not different, just better.
Right, exactly. Or added more to the lore, but didn't do it at the expense of who Swamp Thing has been.
Lore, yeah.
Right. But before Grant touched him, right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then in a lot of cases you get even when they did, what did they do? 1 season of Swamp Thing.
Yeah,
actually, and it was,
and everybody liked it,
right?
And they canceled it.
Well, the thing, I'm not sure if you heard what actually happened, but while they were filming it, if I'm not mistaken, by the time they got to the 7th, if I'm not mistaken, it had to be about the 7th episode.
Mm-hmm.
While they were filming it, they had gotten the news that it was getting canceled, and they still had to, like it was like, so basically what I've heard was, I own it, but they say that from behind the scenes, basically, and you could tell like it started shifting right around episode 6, 7. You could feel a shift in the characters and everything else, and it was that the production team in the background, knew that their time was up, and they started like not giving a fuck, man, while they were filming, because they knew that their shit was over
done.
with. Yeah, so it's like, well, fuck, we just contractually obligated to finish this out, but there's nothing forward beyond this, so why should I give a fuck? Just pick up my check and go, because I'm basically like work for hire at this point.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily blame the crew for that,
right?
Because most humans are like that. If someone tells you, like, I've had that happen. I've had a company announce to our location in Tucson that they were closing the doors. This was on January 2nd or 3rd.
Right.
That March first, the doors are closed and we're done.
Mm-hmm.
So the general feeling within the group of workers was, well, fuck this, I got to go find another job.
Right.
So and to give them credit, they were pretty understanding. They said, look, if you get an interview booked and it's on one of your work days, you can call out and say, I'm calling out because of an interview.
Mm-hmm.
And they would excuse the absence. But yeah, it's a shitty scenario because for the amount of time that you're still there, you're still expected to do a job.
Right.
Yep.
But, you know, from the top person down, everybody's just like, you know what, fuck this place.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
you know, you had people like just not showing up for work, like fucking,
right.
you know,
Or you know, or when they do, it don't have as much love or or care like
right.
it was
They have
before
no
they got
effort
the bad
in the job.
news.
Yeah, there's no effort put into the job. At all.
Right. Yeah, and actually, that's exactly what I heard happen behind the scenes with Swamp Thing, you know, and it's funny because when that was happening, that was when JJ came into DC and he was given that big fucking contract.
Oh,
and you know,
It's a
so
waste of money.
you know,
God.
the crazy thing is, you know, it's crazy because I was telling people, well, the reason why Swamp Thing got killed off because JJ was going to use him for Justice League Dark.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And, you know, and not only that, the thing that happened with the Constantine actor, you know, like basically, you know, he had to stop being Constantine.
Right. But then they pulled him in and put him on, what was that? The other CW show.
Come on, Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, Legends of Tomorrow, which he doesn't
Right.
fit in that group to begin with
Right.
at all.
Yeah,
But, you know,
exactly.
it was a thing.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, this is kind of, it's like, damn, you know, that was a bad thing. But, you know, but like I say, it was just one of those things that, you know, people stopped caring, you know, and that was basically, you know, how it was with that. And you know, it's fucked up, man. It's
Yeah. Well, a lot of things are when you get this, I don't know, this bureaucracy of bullshit. I mean, when you have this bureaucracy of bullshit out there, I mean, yeah, they're there to make money, but they're making money in a company or an arena of entertainment and delivering something for the masses on that level. And it can be, what kind of balancing is that between trying to get the corporate and the creative? Because sometimes the creative gets so crazy, what they want you can't do, just cannot do it, budget wise or technological wise. And then it goes the other direction.
You end up not paying your CGI artists.
Yeah, exactly. And then you kind of go the other way where, you know, everything's so dictated by the studios or whatever that the product that comes out is so sterile. And you just feel it right across, you know, it's like eating cardboard.
It's an amalgamation of a bunch of smaller problems that build into one massive problem.
right.
You know, the lack of a proper writing team that not only is familiar with the work, but then understands the important parts of prior work and include that into whatever they're writing.
Right.
But, you know, and then you have the forced situations like diversity and whatnot, where, you know, you're now having to write for an individual who no longer clearly represents the character that they're based on. And again, with the, you know, I made light of the CGI situation, but it rears its ugly head, and it truly is ugly when it's not done well.
Yep.
In the worst possible way. and you end up with a multi-million dollar budget, multi-million dollar budget for a movie that's going to fall off 70 to 80% in its second week.
Oh, we haven't seen anything that lately, have we? No. We're making ant hills out of mountains out of ant hills.
Something like that, yeah. But yeah, I mean, you end up with situations that, you know, if only one piece of that came true and the rest was okay, you know, you could get away with subpar acting if the writing's somewhat decent and you have a good director. You know, they can smooth out the rough edges. CGI is tough because it's a very visual thing and people notice it whether they understand the CGI or not. Something doesn't look right. So that's a major piece of the puzzle. And so is script writing. A bad script is only going to go so far, even if you have the best director behind it.
Right.
It's, you know, plot points don't make sense, or they're just flat missing in some cases, and a director can't do anything about that because they can't make on the fly changes to a script because they're so bound to the original because the company wanted X person to do the script. But yeah, it just they're failing on multiple levels. It's not even just wow, writing has been really bad, but wow, look at the CGI. No, it's all been bad.
Yeah, they're crumbling down all at once. It's like, and then that's exactly what's going to happen. These little cracks that we're seeing is just going to cause it, you know, almost like tomorrow. It's like it's going to be like night and day.
Right.
Because it just can't hold up no longer. And it's not the first time something like this happened. And it won't be the last time anything like this happens. Whether it's a company, it's a city, or a country, or whatever. When you have all these cracks, you haven't taken care of them because of your blindsidedness, your blinders. Next thing you know is, you know, it slides down the side of the mountain because, you know, they had an earthquake in California and all these houses that are jutted out are now floating in the sea. Or however you want to see it. You know, Lex Luthor was successful in Superman and blew the West Coast off and now has Yeah. And, you know, I'm starting to wonder, maybe I should have been rooting. I was rooting for the wrong guy in that movie now, but no, that's all right. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I don't know. I mean, I'll say this. They've been saying that California is going to fall off into the ocean for years.
Yeah.
And it hasn't happened yet. So
yeah. No matter how much we rooted for it. But
I mean, some well-placed explosives might get the ball rolling, but...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, all right. I got it mapped out. I can share it with you after the show. And we can see about something.
Fault lines. That's not hard to figure out.
You talking about like have it like on a Escape from LA type like scenario?
You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
you detonate explosives along the fault line, get it to fucking freak out, and then it breaks off. Whether that could actually happen, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
And I'm not suggesting anybody go and do that. Not at all.
Oh, I mean, I got to put my ICBMs back? Damn it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it on top of all this other stuff, like, it's, especially with Disney, we've seen them do better.
Yeah.
I won't say great, because not everything they put out was great.
No.
And a lot of the really good stuff wasn't even Disney. But, you know, like I watched, what was it? Werewolf by Night. I actually liked that. I liked the way they shot it. Right? In black and white, very much a Universal Monster type of 50s flick ambiance. And it worked well. And it touched on, there's enough little Easter eggs there to say, oh shit, that's Man-Thing. Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know? And it was such a in the background thing that everybody kind of glossed over it, didn't care. It wasn't in their wheelhouse, so to speak. But it was one of the good things that they did. And
Right.
every time they do one of those, they come back and do a WandaVision or they do a She-Hulk. And it completely screws everything up.
You know, actually, when it comes to Phase 4, man, when you hear about the only thing that was really good, you know, Spider-Man: No Way Home, people's like, well, that's not even a Marvel movie, that's a Sony movie.
Right. And a lot of
Man.
member berries.
Right. And besides that, what else did you have?
I want to address Cynthia Dildo. I can bark when I want to. I can leave my fleas behind. And if you don't bark, no, sorry.
You know,
The
and
safety bark.
No, you can't.
Uh-oh. The boss has spoken. No, you
Yes.
can't. Right, like you have Werewolf by Night, which everybody pretty much ignored.
yeah, and then everybody glossed over it and didn't even like it. It's like I don't know. It's like people watched it, a lot of people liked it, but no one ever mentions it. And it's kind of like, and even in the argument of anything of it being good or bad,
Right.
that it's never brought up.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And
that Werewolf by
those who
Night was awesome.
Well, and it's funny too because it didn't necessarily cater to the comic book crowd because Werewolf by Night is a fairly background character to begin with. That, you know, the recognition of the character kind of went under the radar.
Right.
So your standard comic book people were not going to care. Horror movie people were like, it's not a horror movie. Looking at it from a 2022 perspective,
right.
which, no, it's not blood and gore. It's
Right.
not your hack slash horror movie. And like I said, it's very much in line with the genre it tried to reach back to, which was the 40s and 50s Universal monster movie.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The fact that it was shot in black and white with just touches of color here and there, you know, it didn't hit with the people it technically should have hit with. Right? It didn't hit with the comic book crowd because they didn't care for the character. It didn't hit with the horror crowd because it wasn't blood and guts and gore.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's all a horror movie is nowadays. It's
Right.
jump scares and how many body parts can you hack off? You know, and it ended up only really hitting with the group that understood where they were trying to go with this. Which, you know, for those of us who know those Universal type of old monster movies,
Right.
you know, we completely get it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's too small a group of people. So I don't think it necessarily did well viewership wise.
Well,
I thought it was written really well. It introduced characters that, you know, not many people know. And it had some decent Easter eggs in it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, you know, with that movie, to be honest, compared to all their other Marvel projects, you know, all the other shit that's coming out and has been broadcasted, no, even for it being a Disney Plus 1 hour special, Halloween special,
Right. Yeah, it was a bit short.
Marvel and Disney, they didn't advertise it for shit.
No.
Yeah, it didn't.
So
get
that
it.
was
unless you had Disney Plus, you probably didn't even know about it.
Right. And, you know, and it's like, you know, but then to be honest, word to mouth, I'm going to be honest, I've seen a lot of people do reviews on that. Like a lot of, you know, Nerdrotic, you know, Mr. H, you know, all the Friday Night Tights guys, you know, Doomcock. I mean, just all these, like, just, you know, so many people, a lot of people watched it. A lot of people gave it high praise. They say even for that month of, you know, when that shit came out and it was funny because it ran for a little bit under the radar until it caught wind, and people were like, "Hey, this shit came out under Marvel Werewolf by Night. Check this shit out."
Mm-hmm.
And people started watching. It was like a word of mouth kind of thing. So actually, a lot of people generated to it, and were like, "Oh shit, check!" Because that's why I watched it. Because people were like, "Yo, check this shit out. This shit is different. It ain't woke. It's this just it is what it is." You know, and I was like, okay, let me give this. You know, it was kind of like the way I was like, fuck it. Let me see what this is, and you know, made by people that have never done anything Marvel related. Like this is, you know, hey, they got a project. Nobody's never heard of them. You know, probably Marvel gave them the go to do it and didn't expect too much to come out of it.
Right,
and it was actually better than everything that they have put out.
Yeah, I think part of it was they leaned into people that understood the genre, and not comic book genre, but that early horror flick genre,
right?
Where things can be scary and or have a lot of tension. You don't necessarily need to show any gore,
right?
But you can build anticipation within a scene and understand what the final result of that scene was without actually seeing it. Like that fight scene in the hallway where he changes into the werewolf and starts attacking all of those guards or whatever.
Right. When he was all chained up with old girl. Right.
Yeah, and then he broke out of it and started attacking them.
Right.
Like that was all shot as a negative. It was all silhouette. And any of the blood splatter wasn't red. It was also silhouetted.
Right.
So you understood that he was slashing through somebody and blood was coming out, but you didn't have to see it.
Right.
And it still worked because that was how that genre. That's even beyond the Universal Monster genre because they didn't show blood at all back then.
Right.
It was, taboo to do. But yeah, I think they hired people who had an idea of the ambiance that they were trying to pull with this character, and they did it well. Like I watch a lot of these things purely so I can have an opinion.
Right.
I understand the direction Marvel and Disney are going. I know I don't like it, but I watch so that if somebody's, hey, did you see that? I can actually say, yes, I did. This is what my opinion is of.
Right.
Same thing with what's his face? Moon Knight.
Right. Moon Knight.
There were aspects of Moon Knight that I actually liked, and then there were aspects I did not like. Right. It was a mixed bag. Every time they had him by himself, or him talking to what the hell is the name of that god that had control over him? What was the name of that character?
Dude, I couldn't even check into Moon Knight, man.
I can't think of the name of the character, but the god that controls him.
Right.
Those scenes were actually done pretty well. Like they're the idea that he's losing his mind and that there's completely broken off personalities that he can't access all the time and doesn't remember what they did. That came across really well. Now his female friend and all of that shit. And are you a superhero? Fuck off with that. Like seriously, it was Khonshu. There you go.
Khonshu, okay.
Yeah, that was cool. The way they portrayed the afterlife for Egyptian lore, that was kind of cool. But again, once they kept including his partner in crime, the female, it just kind of fell off because he wasn't the strong. At the end of the day, he wasn't the strongest character. She was.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But at least I can say that having seen it,
Right.
so I can actually say, well, yeah, they did this right, but they did that wrong.
Well,
The one thing that drives me nuts is someone who will absolutely tell you their opinion on something they never watched, no matter what it is. We don't even have to talk about Marvel, Disney, any movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, that's just a dumb movie. Did you see it? No. Well, then how do you know it's dumb? Well, this and that, and I heard from these other people. Like, form your own opinion.
Right,
Please.
right.
Yeah. Don't be a part of the echo chamber.
Right. Because you're not doing anybody any favors doing that. And you may actually miss out on something you like.
Mm-hmm.
And again, not specifically talking about Marvel, Disney, but,
Right.
there are a lot of movies where like, you mention a movie and the person's like, yeah, I've never seen that. Like, how? How have you not seen this movie? It's a good movie. I heard about it, but that just drives me nuts.
Well,
But anyway,
tell you what, man. I know with this topic, since we already know what the actual deal is with this, you guys got any last words on this one?
Oh, it's going to hurt Hollywood. This is going to really hurt Hollywood. It's one more straw that's being put on their back of bullshit.
Right.
And I mean, it's not going to be the end all be all, but it's one of the cracks that's happening that we've been watching, and it's going to be interesting to see which straw is going to be the one that finally breaks it. But this is part of it. This is stifling of creativity. This is censorship. This is bigotry. And yeah, I will use that term, bigotry. This is the things. These are the things that we said that we were supposed to have gotten rid of, and in many ways, we had in the past until you started getting the opportunists out there a little bit more. But when you have great people of color that were out there, like Eddie Murphy, I mean, he was a box office king for crying out loud. Comedians like Richard Pryor.
Right.
You had Cleavon Little, great actor. You list through all these things, and they want to sit back and say that we never appreciated people of color. It was always whitewash Hollywood, which has never been true. Never been true. You've had all sorts. I mean, was there bad things that were in there? Of course, every industry. Just what bad thing about Hollywood are you talking about today? But when you do this is a step back. This is violating laws that have been made. And saying dildos like let it burn. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's like any last words, let it burn.
Yeah, because you know what you're going to get out of it? Hopefully you get a phoenix rising out of those ashes.
Huh.
I would say you're not going to see any Phoenix out of Hollywood. What you'll see is other forms of media pull the Phoenix, so to speak, and become stronger and more popular because of it.
Well, yeah, when I was saying that, I was not talking about California per se, but I'm talking about the film industry.
Right.
Because the film industry is not just Hollywood, and even Americans have to get that through their head. It's not Hollywood. There is all sorts of other places in the United States that are being filmed and have studios, even here. Paisley Park is right up the road. When Prince was alive, they had a sound stage on there. She Drives You Crazy from Fine Young Cannibals. That music video was filmed up there. But there always seems to be some surge of interest in doing filming. Minnesota had it for a while. Now Georgia, like you say, at the end of Archer is made in Georgia. Other shows, so it's not just Disney, but a lot of stuff is being filmed there. So for the industry, it's going to burn. It's going to be Hollywood burning, and it's going to be basically a lifeblood for a lot of the others.
Well, yeah. I mean, the only problem is it's gone from a multi-billion-dollar industry to a hundreds of millions.
Hmm.
After all, the
Yeah.
COVID and all that other shit.
Hmm.
So, I mean, they're still making money. The problem is they're not making as much as they were.
Right.
So, budgets start to decrease. People stop getting paid. At some point, you're gonna have, like, again, not to hang on the one subject, but Disney with the CGI artists. Eventually, they're just not going to be able to get anybody to work for them.
Right.
They're going to be like, "Hey, we got a job for you." And it's like, you know what? I got something.
Oh,
else
yeah.
going on. I'm good.
Right.
It may be, 5 figures instead of 6 figures, but you know what? I'm guaranteed to get paid that 5 figures when I can't guarantee that 6-figure check from you is
Right.
ever going to get here.
Mhm. The one plus thing I can see out of this, though, is maybe this will be the surge of the smaller budgeted films, like, of course, Megan, like what was it that was just out? We're just talking about it. It had $25 million budget, almost made its budget back in one weekend. Even the faith-based one about the Jesus Revolution.
Well, it was that one. Even Cocaine Bear, which is
Cocaine Bear. That's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm.
That's still a major company's product, but it had almost no budget, and it's already made that money back.
Exactly. So it makes you wonder: is this going to be a boom for the smaller budgeted films? That they'll take more risks on that one because low investment, high potential returns.
The only problem I have with indie movies,
Right.
is that they tend to focus on, like, South by Southwest or Cannes or
Right.
what's the one in Colorado?
Sundance.
They focus on those specific release points, and those are all Hollywood liberals.
Yeah, but this is not necessarily even I'm not saying that these are independents. I'm talking about even the major studios sitting back thinking maybe we should start making lower budgeted films.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, like the buddy comedy. Where has that gone?
Right.
You don't see too many, like, pure. I don't want to talk, like, say, Bad Boys, but there are a bunch of other movies that were buddy cop oriented that were funny.
Yeah.
In the 90s and in the early 2000s that didn't have huge budgets because they didn't need them.
Right. What was it? Stakeout with Emilio Estevez and.
Right, and most of that budget was just paying Richard Dreyfuss, Emilio Estevez, and fucking fat woman, whatever her name is.
Well, she was in the second one.
Oh, well, whatever. You know what I mean, though.
Right.
Most of that went to paying the actors.
Right. But it's still the buddy cop thing.
Right.
And
Rosie O'Donnell, yeah.
Yeah. Repo Men. I mean, you had that with the.
Oh God, that was super low budget. Woo.
Yeah. And yet, you had two of the Sheen boys in there. You had Harry Dean Stanton in there. I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, a good script can carry a movie like that, a low budget movie.
Right.
It as long as your talent is in on it and they're 100%, the script is good and the director isn't a complete dolt, then you'll come out with something halfway decent that's watchable and entertaining.
Right. And maybe hopefully we can start seeing some of that again. I mean.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
I mean, I can hope. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I mean, it is a possibility. I mean, it has to be put on the board.
I mean, to be honest, for every good low budget film, there's probably 10 bad ones.
Yeah.
It still has to have the right pieces to be competent, no matter what the budget is.
Right.
Right.
And I think that's where you're going to start getting your younger filmmakers coming in. Hopefully, that will do that, just like we did back in the early 70s. With Coppola, Scorsese, Spielberg, Lucas,
Well,
Romero.
honestly, I mean, beyond Lucas and the first trio of Star Wars movies, which were fairly low budget.
Mhm.
Scorsese, I don't think he's ever done a low budget film in the true sense.
Well, when he
everything
started out.
Well, okay, you'd have to go even back further than that. I mean, fuck, that dude's
Well,
been around
Taxi
forever.
Driver. Well, Taxi Driver, that wasn't a high budget film.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like in that era, I would probably lean towards movies like Dog Day Afternoon,
Right.
Serpico.
Yeah, those are
What was the
classics.
one that Gene Hackman did?
Oh, that's a Popeye Doyle film.
Yeah, the Popeye Doyle film. What was the name of that?
I mean, because
French Connection.
French Connection, yes.
yeah, and that was along with like Bullet.
Mhm.
Bullet, which Bullet was very early. That's 70. Now that's 68.
No, it's 60. Yeah.
Yeah, 68.
Mhm. But look at the American Graffiti. That was a low budget film, but boy, did that turn heads.
Yeah, first one.
Yeah. Well,
Second one
no,
doesn't
the only
exist.
one. There's no second one.
There
Oh,
is no second American Graffiti.
Right.
There's
Oh.
a weird acid trip that had the same people involved, but
Yeah.
it's not American Graffiti.
No, it's the same thing with Caddyshack 2. There's no Caddyshack 2. It's a strange acid trip. Yeah.
Wow, that's how y'all look at that shit. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Well, okay,
how we keep our
now-
sanity.
I will say this, and again, this purely comes from my background.
Right.
So, at the end of the first American Graffiti,
Mhm.
they all they do is they kind of give you tags on what happened to each individual at the very
Right.
end before the credits roll.
Right.
And with John Milner, the one who owned the yellow 32 Ford Coupe, it just says that he got hit by a drunk driver and killed.
Mhm.
And they give you kind of a vague date. And when the second movie came around, they filled in the gap, so to speak. So from the point of the first movie ending to supposedly the car accident, there's a number of years.
Mhm.
Because that first movie was supposed to be, 66? Even
Right.
though it was filmed at a different date, it's
Yeah.
supposed to portray 66
Right.
because that was the beginning of Vietnam, and that's where Dreyfus's character was supposed to be getting sent off to, and Frog
Right.
ended up joining the military and all that. So there's like a 4-year gap, or 4 or 6 year gap, to the point where Milner was supposed to die. So they filled that with his drag racing career, which those portions of the second movie are really good.
Yeah.
Outside of that, the whole Richie Cunningham and Laverne, or Shirley,
Shirley.
Yeah, Shirley. Yeah.
Going and protesting and getting arrested and whatever else. Frog getting lost in the jungle in Vietnam.
Wow.
They didn't even include Dreyfus's character because Dreyfus didn't want to come back.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the only redeeming part of that movie is the Milner parts. And the fact that the guy he raced, Harrison Ford's character,
Right.
Alfalfa, ended up being a cop. And that was kind of ironic since he was the wild child street racer in the first movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, the second movie is just an acid trip. That's all it is.
Yeah. That, Caddyshack 2, and a few others. Yeah. Airplane 2. Yeah, they don't exist. Never happened.
Wow.
Airplane 2 was
Yeah, it
kind
wasn't
of
that-
funny.
Yeah, it had some good. I have
It had
to
moments.
yeah, it had moments. It had moments.
And that was the second one was the one with Shatner, wasn't it? Or,
That it was, yeah,
yeah.
on the moon base, yes.
Every time they go, they have to shh the door, and the door would shh back.
Yeah, that was good.
So, all right. So let me ask you this: since y'all think about like sequels in that way, all right, what do y'all think about the National Lampoon series?
Which one?
Yeah,
Like,
'cause there's a number of movies.
no. Well, actually, there's like, okay, you have National Lampoon's Vacation,
Right.
Right,
then you have the European.
Yeah.
right. So
You got
okay,
the
so you're
Christmas.
talking the
vacation
vacation
movies?
portion
Yeah.
of that,
Right.
because there's also Animal House was National Lampoon.
No. Well, okay, yeah. Well, I'm talking about the vacation movies.
Vacation. Yeah.
So you have like National Lampoon's Vacation, then of course you have the European Vacation,
Mhm.
then you have the Christmas Vacation,
right.
then of course there's a spin-off with
The Vegas one. Well, there was a
right.
Vegas one too.
Mhm.
right. So
Sucked
let me ask you
horribly.
this: out of those three and the Vegas one, what is your Vegas one?
That's just utter shit. That was
So you
should
saying
have
like
stopped at Christmas.
so
Yeah.
the Vegas one is basically the equivalent of uh
Yeah.
American Graffiti too.
Yeah. There we
no,
go.
well,
It's a bad
or
fever dream.
or that second movie we were just talking about,
Caddyshack 2,
right, or the other one,
Airplane 2.
Yeah,
or Airplane 2, right?
yeah. The Vegas Vacation should have never happened.
Mhm.
That was dipping into the well way too many times. They got lucky with Christmas because Christmas has the perfect fucking script.
No, yeah,
Right.
yeah. Christmas was
When it
awesome.
comes to that kind of movie, it is the
Right,
perfect
right.
script. It is funny throughout. I don't think there's a joke in that. Personally, to me, I don't think there's a joke in that missed.
And you had
All the
Brian
way
Doyle
from-
Murray.
Right. The all the way from the cat getting fried by biting the fucking wires in the Christmas tree to the I don't know, was he grandfather or uncle, whereas his toupee was on fire. Like that whole movie was just good. And I would actually say Christmas was probably better than the first one.
Huh.
Wow.
Because there's some moments in the first one that kind of lull out a bit.
Yeah.
But it comes back from that. I'm not saying that the first one was a bad movie. It's just I think
No.
Christmas Vacation was the best,
Oh,
and
a
then
lot.
the first one was the next best.
Right.
European had its moments,
Mhm.
but it was
So-
jarring
so-
to see the kids change.
Yeah.
Right.
Which even in the second one, that is.
Well, they always change through the movies.
Yeah.
No. Actually, the kids were the same in the first one and the European trip.
No.
No,
Yeah,
European-
actually, yeah. It was the same Russ. Yeah, look it up, man.
Russ was Anthony Michael Hall in the first one.
That's correct. Yeah.
Man, hey, like
And
I
he's
say,
not in European.
it's the same. It's the same Russ for the first two movies,
Well, hold on a second. Let me.
and the same Audrey or Aubrey, whatever their fucking name was. It's the same two chicks. Then after that, for like the Christmas Vacation and the Vegas, it's totally different kids. But for the first two movies, same kids. For Christmas, it changed.
I respectfully disagree, 24, on that one, because that was always kind of the joke.
I'm saying you could look it up.
I'm doing that right now, buddy. Doing that right now. So, because I know the second Aubrey, she died of, I think that was Dana Hill in the second film. She passed away from, I think, ovarian cancer. Oh, no, she had diabetes, so she had all that. And Jason Lively, I believe, was Rusty in that one. And while the first one had first one. What? You're stupid.
There's been, let's see.
The first
God.
one, Dana Barron was Audrey, and of course Anthony Michael Hall was Russ in the first one.
Yeah.
All right. And then the European.
European was Dana Hill, and I can't remember who the other one was again.
Yeah, and he's been in a bunch of shit too.
Right, and then which one was it that you had from Big Bang Theory? Was that Christmas Vacation?
Oh, it was Jason Lively.
Jason
as
Lively.
Rusty.
And Pat S says he likes the pig and the poke.
Yeah, that's European Vacation. I enjoy European Vacation.
Christmas.
So you telling me that the two kids from the first movie is not the same two as
It's
the
not
European?
even the same in Christmas too.
No, every
Juliette
movie.
Lewis played Audrey, and
Mhm.
Johnny Galecki played Rusty.
Yep. We go on to do Big Bang, and then I don't know who did Vegas.
I'm looking at it now.
Yeah, faster fingers than me.
Well, I'm on the
Vegas
wiki.
is-
I'm on the wiki, so it's easy. Yeah, it's
me
even
too.
a fourth pairing. Marisol Nichols played Audrey, and Ethan Embry played Rusty. So they've never been the same in any movie.
No, and that was kind of the big joke about the Vacation film. The kids always changed.
Yeah. And then the reboot, which
Yeah, the commercials made it look better. I mean, I saw the commercials. I laughed my ass off at the commercials, and it's like, well, that must have been all the good parts then.
And then there was a 2003 National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation 2.
Yeah, I think that was with cousin Ed.
Yeah. That was with
That was his side of the family.
with Quaid. Yeah.
Yeah,
Randy.
Yeah, Randy Quaid.
Yeah,
Cheers,
yeah.
Paul.
Randy Quaid. Yeah. That was his spinoff movie. Actually, I own all those motherfuckers, man. So yeah, that's
And that's the only time anybody's ever returned to play one of the two kids. Dana Barron came back, she was the second one, right?
No, Dana Hill was the second one. Barron was the first one.
Okay, so Barron from the first time came back to do Audrey for the Christmas Vacation 2, which completely fucks everything up.
Why not?
wow. I have to look at that one again. Fuck.
Yeah, it's a convoluted.
Yeah, it's been a minute,
story.
man. But yeah, I own all of them, so that's
Yeah, the kids have never been the same.
wow.
And I mean, it's funny because it didn't matter. Like at the end of the day, nobody gave a shit.
Right. Yeah, they were like they were all basically like confined within their own
Yeah,
their
I mean,
own
there were
episode, like their own movie. It's like, like you know that they're the family. They got mom, dad, the two kids, Russ and the sister, and it's like it's just another vacation, man.
right. Well, I mean, they did take some of the lore, I guess you could call it, from the previous movies, but they never really like tried to like push, hey, this is the same person. Like they just didn't care.
Right.
Once they knew they were deviating from the original pairing, they didn't give a shit. And they just like, this is Rusty now, and that's it.
Right.
Well, and then if I'm not mistaken, with the Vegas one, it wasn't even it's the production. It was like a whole different company.
Yeah, and there was reason behind that. The guy who was one half of the creators of National Lampoon
Right.
had died,
Yeah.
and he was one of the major contributing factors to a lot of the movie stuff.
Right.
So
That Caddyshack. Yeah.
right, Caddyshack. He was huge behind Caddyshack. He was huge behind Animal House. He was like a part of the writing team, if I'm not mistaken, behind
Yeah.
Animal House, and the first Vacation movie. and then he was just kind of like a producer for the remaining. And you could definitely tell in the Lampoon stuff which ones were under his watch and which ones were after his death. Because like Van Wilder, I never liked any of that series.
You didn't like, I own all the Van Wilders, man.
Yeah, I didn't like him.
What?
But again, it was, I like the stuff that the original National Lampoon guys were behind.
Right.
Because their writing is very specific and almost an American Monty Python-esque mentality.
Oh, hell yeah.
And you look at everything that came out that they had no attachment to.
Right.
And it's just not the same.
So you're saying you didn't like The Rise of Taj?
No.
What?
No. I just didn't like honestly, I watched the first one and as much as I like Ryan Reynolds,
right,
I don't like him in that movie.
What?
Like he just comes across as a pompous ass.
Right.
It completely kills the character for him.
So you didn't like Waiting?
I don't know. Waiting.
Oh, Waiting was awesome. What?
But hold on. I used to work in the food industry.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
And I've seen those things happen.
Yeah, I have also, which made it even cooler to recognize.
Well, I'm not a fan of what they did in that movie at all.
No, I'm not. It was just the fact that it was just the fact that when you tell people like, hey, this shit really goes down, and they're like, yeah, nah, whatever, and it's like, yo, look, like, even though you're watching a comedy, yo, that shit, like, I've seen that happen, and they're like, whatever, and it's like, yo, it's like just the fact that they can sit there and actually make it visible, man, and kind of like attach a scenario like something that you can watch and actually see people just fucking go ham on that plate of food. Shit, like, and then I was like, yo, like I seen people drop steaks and just pick them motherfuckers up with the tongs and put it down. Don't give a fuck.
I've got worse.
Oh yeah, I've
seen.
Yeah, I was just being nice, but yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, well, we had a guy take a cup into the toilet, pull some of the toilet water out, and pour it into a salad for somebody.
Good night, everybody.
Yep. Wasn't me. But
no,
I've seen some really bad stuff.
Yeah. I've seen some other stuff. So
yeah, it was less a comedy and more a documentary.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Well, in some ways, that's what comedy can be, is documenting things that happen for real, where everyone's laughing. Those that know are cringing.
Right. Yeah.
Well, all right. So okay. So compared to that, what about Still Waiting 2?
I don't think I've seen that one.
You didn't see part 2?
No, I didn't see part 2.
Yeah, it's called Still Waiting. Yeah, part 2. Yeah.
But again, it's if you're turned off from watching the first movie, do you bother watching the sequel?
Yeah.
Right. I got you.
Not typically,
I got you.
I mean, so yeah, I was not.
I mean, damn, you wouldn't watch it for Justin Long.
No.
Well, and the thing I think that Newbaum was trying to hit on there is National Lampoon has its own style of writing and how they present humor. And once they went away from that, it's really hard to
forcibly went away.
Yeah, it's hard to put that National Lampoon name on there. Being Christmas Vacation came from an actual short story they had, Christmas, but regular Vacation from National Lampoon. In it, though, they actually did go to Disneyland and they shot Disney in the ass. Griswold did in that actual story. I believe it's Vacation 58 is the name of this actual short story. But that's just it. They were taking the humor that was out of that magazine, which highly
was very off color.
Oh yeah,
very off color.
But very funny.
First time I've ever seen a pair of titties.
Oh,
well, You mean you
Yeah.
didn't go? You didn't go with National Great Geographic. You went with National Lampoon. Okay, huh? Yeah. I mean, yeah, that was just it. I mean, it's a very man-orientated humor uh, magazine, which is why Animal House did so well. It was
Right.
checked all the right boxes, if you want to use
Right.
that phrase, for what National Lampoon was about.
Right, all the zany wild shit. You know, it's funny. Let me ask y'all: have y'all ever look? I'm look. Just kind of give you a little background on me and the whole National Lampoon franchise.
Yeah.
I know when it comes to the movies,
Right.
I have to honestly say that I probably own over 20.
Yeah, they've done a lot of shit.
I've done.
Yeah.
I own over 20, probably over 24, 25 National Lampoon related movies, and they're mostly movies,
Right.
like National Lampoon's Gold Diggers, National Lampoon's Adam and Eve.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, they got
yeah.
National Lampoon's Loaded. Was that Loaded Weapon?
Loaded Weapon. Yep. Mhm.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
so you got that one. That was a fucking awesome,
It was a good parody.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
I love that shit. You know, so they have a lot of different National Lampoon movies, and I
Right.
mean even the ones that I own that were straight to DVD, I've watched those, and those were more or less on the level of like American Pie or some shit.
Right.
And I
Right.
mean, you know, a lot of ass,
Isn't
you know,
there one
ass
that's?
tits.
I'm trying to think. There was a college football one, wasn't there?
Yeah. Matter of fact,
Yeah.
let me see. There was I own like so many of them. I can't fucking remember. I know they have one. Oh, they got National Lampoon Senior Trip.
Yep.
Dude, they also have what's that? National Lampoon's Gold Diggers
Yep.
is another one they have. And I mean, dude, they have a lot of they have a lot of like and all the ones that matter of fact, they also have another one that's a National Lampoon's. It's kind of like they have put out this. It's kind of like I'm not gonna say a reality show. It was basically where it was a lot of shows that were supposed to have that came out with pilots, but they never got greenlit for to actually come out with a show. And I think National Lampoon actually got the rights to the pilots. And boy, when
Right.
you watch some of this shit, it's so buck wild. It's to the point where it's like it's actually like you couldn't even show it like on like it went straight to like DVD. Like you had to
Right.
you had to get it from you could some of this shit couldn't even go to theater.
Mhm.
So
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of, like I say, I own over 24, 25 different National Lampoon stuff, and there's
So,
this.
Let me
Go
ask
for it.
this: have you ever read any of the original magazines?
Actually, I've read one.
One.
No,
Oh,
but
my.
dude, the thing is, no, but I'm talking about the actual, really, like have it in my hand, read it. Like, of course,
Yeah.
I could go online and pull up all kind of
Yeah.
shit, but
Right.
as far as like having one in my hand and looking at it, yeah, I've only seen one, and
And if I'm
growing
not
up-
mistaken, they're not even in publication anymore. Like,
right.
No.
So growing up, like I've seen one, but they weren't common. You know what was common growing up were like Mad magazines,
right.
Right.
like
Yeah,
shit like
and
that.
I find that funny because
Right.
the whole reason I ended up with a National Lampoon magazine was, and in a time and day when you went to the grocery store, they used to have racks and racks and racks of magazines,
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
and I would always go into that aisle because I was looking for a car magazine,
Right.
and
So-
I just perusing. Oh, there's Mad magazine. Okay, cool. What's this?
Right.
And I look at it, and it had a like a cartoon cover,
Mhm.
and I was like, I opened it up, seen a pair of titties, and went, "Oh, I need to get this." So, and fortunately, my parents were not aware of what it was.
Lucky.
Yeah, so I just threw it in the cart. She's like, "What's that?" It's like just some funny magazine. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's mad for the adults. Let's just put it that way.
Well, I always stated, I mean, the two guys that created National Lampoon,
Mm-hmm.
that all stems from Harvard.
Yep.
Like they were both Harvard graduates.
Mhm.
So to me, it was always highbrow comedy delivered in a lowbrow way.
Right.
Oh, yeah, exactly. They came from the Harvard Lampoon, so when they went
Yeah.
to theirs, it went national on that one. So,
Yeah. They had to fight Harvard to even do that.
Mhm.
Because Harvard was like, no, Harvard Lampoon was a national institution. They're like, yeah, we know, we created it.
Yep.
And they're like, no, you can't use the Lampoon part, and blah, blah, blah. And they fought them and actually, won, and were able
Right.
to continue to do the National Lampoon book.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, it's like, it's almost like, okay, let me put it a different way. Like when you would read the op-ed
Mm.
if you've ever looked at a Hustler magazine, and
No.
the op-eds are typically done by Flint,
Right.
right? And he picks a political target and just lambastes the shit out of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the same. They wouldn't directly attack specific individuals, but they would attack government in general and give them the what for.
Well, you know where they attacked the people? It was in the letters pages.
Yeah.
That was the most fantastic fake letter pages of all time, and that's where you started really getting the skewering going.
Yeah. But yeah, they used to always do like the picture panels,
Mm-hmm.
like it's like a cartoon.
Right.
It's real pictures done in a panel sort of way, like a comic book would be done.
Mm-hmm.
And they would always go way off the wall on those things.
And a lot of times, it had a naked lady in there.
Yeah, of course. And it's usually one of their staff, which is even funnier.
Yeah, that is. But, oh, yeah, I mean, to sum it up, because I know I saw that message you put in there, 24, but to kind of sum it up, when you have Animal House and even the vacation films, those are movies that are in the style of the magazine. But when you got to like Loaded Weapon, that was more like the Zaz brothers, the Zaz, Zucker, which is funny because if you go back into the 70s and watch Kentucky Fried Movie, that is very National Lampoonish.
Very, yeah.
Yeah.
And I forget who was actually behind that, but yeah, they did some off the wall shit.
Oh, that was just absolutely hysterical. If anybody hasn't seen it, watch it. If you are sensitive, well, suck it up, Buttercup. That's all I got.
Or just, why are you?
I own all that. Yeah, I own all that stuff, man. I love those. Yeah, I mean, man.
You could slap National Lampoon in front of Kentucky Fried Movie, and people would think, yeah, that is National Lampoon.
It's a continuation.
Yeah. But so it's kind of funny that when they got the slapping on the National Lampoon, they were going more the Zucker brothers, the Abrams way, while they were actually doing stuff that was like National Lampoon in the beginning. So,
well, shit, the rise of Taj, yo. Yeah, I tell you what, I'm gonna need to get moving and get some circulation in me.
Yeah, I got to drop into another show here. So.
Oh, okay. Well.
Soon. I got about 50 minutes. Wow, I thought I was pressing against that. That's okay. That's no problem.
Oh well. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We had a great conversation.
Hell yeah.
I know we were all over the place, but shit, at least we talked about some things, and this is good. Definitely good to see everybody's input in the conversation.
We're not all about pop culture here.
No, you know it. Yeah, we're all about all kinds of shit. So you know how it goes.
Yeah.
But
I would argue that National Lampoon was probably more pop culture than anything.
Yeah, that is super pulp culture. Oh,
yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what. One thing I will say, if you guys get a chance to ever watch any of the other National Lampoon random other movies, go for it. Like I would actually say, you know what?
If you can pick it up, see it for a DVD for like $1 or something, I would actually say, hey, give it a. I don't give a fuck, what it is. Go ahead and pick it up and give it a chance.
Mhm.
Because you got to understand, those movies were made before, definitely before 2015. So,
Mhm.
or 2010 actually. So I mean, you got, like I say, you got a good 25 or probably 30 National Lampoon movies.
Mhm.
There's all kind of action going on in those movies that are on par with like American Pie, man. So if you like that kind of comedy, those National Lampoon movies will definitely do it, man.
Start off with Animal House if you've never seen it. Honestly, Animal House is the perfect one to start with.
Yeah, I love
Oh, yeah.
Animal House. I got the collector's edition of that.
But yeah, it is just
One of
it's
my
a classic.
favorite characters, D-Day.
I was gonna say it has to be D-Day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Blue though, man.
Oh, you would.
Oh yeah, Pluto. But it's hard not to like that character.
No, it's not.
Pluto,
It's
man.
not. Pluto and D-Day, I think those are my two favorites in there.
Huh.
They definitely are. Especially when you have the scene when Flounder goes up and they're supposed to shoot the horse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then they pull a chainsaw out to cut his legs off because they couldn't get out of the room.
Yeah, that's measuring the horse, measuring the doorway, and you hear the chainsaw. Oh my god!
Yeah, I gotta dig for that one. I got it sitting here in front of me somewhere. Well, I tell you what, you gentlemen want to plug anything before we go?
Well, I'll be going in about at the top of the hour to Pacific 414 for the Pop Talkie. He was doing it later tonight because he went to see Ant-Man Quaalude Mania today. So I get to hear his. Yeah, I'm gonna hear him rant about that one. I'm sure.
Wow. Okay.
I haven't heard him. I have to find out what he has to say about Cocaine Bear.
Well, I mean, shit. You might find out that he likes it, huh? Before you.
Yeah, you never know. He was not hip on doing it, but a friend was paying, so it's like okay, free movie.
Yeah, you might go in and he might say, "Hey, I surprisingly think it's a good one," and then all of a sudden,
any free movie is a good movie in my book. So it's like I'll walk out and sing the praises of any film if I get to see it free.
No, I'll still shit on a movie.
me too. I was about to say,
Hell, I've seen everything Marvel over the past 5 years free, and I still shit on them.
Oh yeah,
for real. Yeah,
it doesn't matter. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter. If it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. If it's mediocre, it's mediocre.
there you
Be
go.
honest.
Right?
Huh. Well, you got anything new, Bomb?
Nope. Probably see me less around. I mean, I'll be here on Sundays, but throughout the week I'll be working. So
He has become a vampire working at night. Hide your necks, girls.
yeah. Well, no. More like just I'll be sitting in a room with like 3 other people in a room the size of a cafeteria. But yeah, I mean, if somebody's streaming during the day and I happen to be awake, I might poke my head in.
Well, sounds good. I understand.
There we go.
All right.
Well, I mean, I'll be working on some new stuff, and yeah, that's all that I got for this evening. I'd like to tell everybody thank you all for being here. Had a great time, and everybody's been great. And thank you, Pat S, for everything that you've done. Plugging in, channels and everything else, man. Thank you so much for that. Sentient Dildo, my man, and like to say,
Buzz.
yeah, Buzz. There you
Buzz.
go. Sean, thank you, Sean. Zax, Punk Waddle. Let me see.
Yes.
Eric K. Yup. Pat S. Yup. Fenrir Fire. And actually, Punk Waddle. man. And actually, I can't even won't even let me scroll up no more. So, case,
Oh, peace.
yeah, in case
Okay.
I had missed
Oh.
out on anybody, I didn't mean to. I know my brother Hephaestus has been Eric K in the house. You know, there's been a bunch of other people that have came through, and I just want to tell everyone thank you. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here. I got to get up and start moving around and get some blood circulating in me. So with that, this New Bomb Turk, Baron Norman Tag, I'm 24/7 Fusion Media. We are the Primetime Kings, and you guys have a good evening. We love you guys. You guys be safe and enjoy the rest of your week. Long suffering. I hope you start feeling better, and hopefully everybody, like I say, you guys start having a good week, man. And we love y'all. Y'all take care, and we are out of here. Peace, y'all.
Peace.
Yeah.